Today, I'm going to talk about codependency. We're going to explore what it is, signs to know if you're struggling with it, and of course, how to heal. So, what is codependency? Codependency is actually a relational pattern of using someone else outside of ourselves to define our emotional state, sometimes even our identity. So, what this means simply is using someone else to tell us how to feel, what to do, who to be. And when we do this, we often get into a pattern of what's called self betrayal, where we're doing things without honoring our own needs and sometimes even overstepping our own limits. And as with most of these habits, codependency originates in our earliest environments, really in our earliest relationships, where a few different things could happen. And really commonly, two things that happen are either we're modeled codependency by our parent figures. We might have a parent figure who's overprotective, always overstepping our boundaries, always trying to overcare for us, being really codependent with us, or they might model codependency with someone else and they become neglectful or underprotective of us. The second common thing that leads to codependency is when we consistently hear messages where we're told not to do this or not to do that, or not to say this or that. Maybe because we're told mom or dad or whomever will feel a certain way, will get mad, will yell. Essentially, when we are not seen and heard and honored and valued for the unique individual that we are, with different ones, with different needs, we end up adapting. And many of us even end up learning to play roles in our relationship, roles where we can fit in. We learn how to show up and how to get approval in order to sustain whatever love and whatever connection is possible. But when we're regularly told, maybe we're told to stop running because it makes dad mad, or maybe when we're crying, we're told that we're being too much, we end up internalizing a belief that we're responsible for someone else's emotions, for how they feel, for what they think. We end up learning that our joy can upset other people or that our crying and our emotions are undesirable. And so naturally, we end up slowly starting to disconnect from ourselves and we end up becoming more attentive or hypervigilant to the people around us. We're always worrying about if we're upsetting someone. Some of us even end up going into a caretaker role where we're always on the lookout for something, anything anyone else could want or need. At the same time, we're neglecting ourselves. And the end result is, as I know many of you know, we become an adult who doesn't know ourselves, who doesn't value ourselves, who doesn't even know what we want or what we need. And we end up over relying on other people to feel good about ourselves. We over rely on other people to give us advice. We over rely on other people and we don't trust ourselves. So, what are some signs that you might be struggling with codependency? One sign is you struggle with setting boundaries. The boundaries were blurred in childhood when we were growing up. So, as adults, we struggle to put limits or boundaries within our relationships, usually because we worry or fear that we're going to upset other people. And so many of us have been conditioned to avoid upsetting others. The second sign is we're controlling or have micromanaging behaviors. This looks like telling people what to do, suggesting different ways that people could solve their problems when they share them with us. And while it might feel like we're helping them, really underneath, we're offering this suggestion, we're controlling, we're micromanaging as a way to calm our own anxiety. We are worried about other people. We can't control, we can't tolerate how it is that we feel. We feel anxious. And somewhere we believe that if we don't control them, if we don't solve the problem for them, that we won't be able to handle how we feel. So we jump into a controlling or micromanaging role to tolerate our distress. Another sign is you might be indecisive. When we're disconnected from ourselves, we look to everyone else to tell us what we should do. And this can be as simple as what we should have for dinner or what career path we should take. I find that a lot of people, much like myself, that are codependent, are big advice seekers, calling, asking everyone else what they think about small things, about big things, because we struggle to make our own choices. If we're not connected to ourselves, we're not going to be connected to the decision that's right for us. So we're going to look outside of ourselves and we're going to be indecisive. Another sign is we often feel like we're on a roller coaster of someone else's emotions. When someone else is upset, we become upset. The people around us control our emotional climate. When they're up, we're up. When they're down, we're down. We can't remain emotionally separate. We lack emotional boundaries. We can't let someone else have their feeling while we're having a separate feeling of our own. So, how do we heal codependency? We heal by self-reclaiming, by taking a spiritual journey of discovering who you are, listening to your own needs, and learning to meet them. Now, of course, there's a few steps to this process, but we can all start by setting small, clear boundaries, by simply saying no when we mean it, letting people know when we're uncomfortable as we begin to better understand our own limits, our own emotional needs, spending time to discover ourselves, what we want, how we feel will be probably uncomfortable for a lot of us, especially if we haven't practiced tuning into ourself. Spending even more time then exploring our unique gifts, following our curiosities, our interests, and discovering what excites each of us. Finding even new hobbies will be a new experience that's so important. We need to create separation so that we can explore and reclaim who it is that we are, not who it is that we think we have to be for someone else. Many of you I know like to explore this through a journaling practice. You could take some time writing about what you're experiencing, what you're thinking, what you're sensing, what you're feeling as you go along on this journey. I even wrote a workbook. It's called How to Meet Yourself that takes you on a step-by-step guide on how to explore yourself authentically in this new way. And as you all begin your self-reclaiming journey, remember to have patience with yourself. As you slowly break the cycle, the conditioned habit of codependency, of focusing everything on someone else and how they feel and what they need, and as you begin to create the space to rediscover yourselves. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Do you, like me, struggle with codependency? And how has it impacted your life?